Are you taking the servants with you when you're going back?
Look, I'm a fucking human being. I am a man. I can cry and whoop your ass at the same time.
Okay, so the UFC 305 press conference just happened, and I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty damn good. So, let's talk about it. Okay, so the first thing I want to start off with, obviously, I'm going to be focusing mostly on Dricus and Adesanya, as this was, besides being the main event of UFC 305, this was the highlight of the press conference. And obviously, this is where I'm the most invested. As I've said previously, I am South African, so I obviously want Dricus to win. But let's start there. So first of all, Dricus came in with some heat. He had some jokes. He had some things lined up first. Some things landed, and obviously some didn't, but it was okay. He was quite quick with his responses to the things Dricus was saying and some of the questions that were asked. Like, of course, the stuff about the first African champion and to take it to Africa, that was brought up, which I don't say I was hoping for, but I was kind of hoping for to like bring that feud back. And I think for a lot of us, this press conference is what we were waiting for. Like this whole time in the media, they weren't that like bad blood between Dricus and Izzy, and I think this time there really was that, and honestly you could feel it that animosity between each other, and I loved it, honestly. But I think the main talking point, I think let's start there. Izzy started crying.
He touched the subject there because I do this for my family. I do this for the people I love, and I'll fight for you forever. I swear to God.
Surprisingly, like it's not surprising that he cried, because he's always been very open with his emotions, and from most of the fighters, he's been the one to show his emotions best. And honestly, I respect him a lot for this. I know I should be straight on supporting Dricus, but I'm a very big Israel Adesanya fan. Not just because I watch anime or anything. He's always been entertaining and for the most part the most real, in my opinion. Like, it's very easy for a fighter to put off that facade of having no feelings, just being strong, you know, a man's man. But honestly, Izzy just showed what he's interested in, showed the real him, and I respect him a lot for that.
Watch this. Look, I'm a fucking human being. I am a man. I can cry and whoop your ass at the same time.
But now going back to him crying, so essentially what tipped him off is Dricus made a comment about, which I'll put in the video now, about...
On Tuesday, I'm going back to Nigeria.
Are you taking the servants with you when you're going back?
Fuck up. You don't even know anything about my story. You have no idea who the fuck I am.
So Dricus made a comment about Izzy taking his servants back with him when he goes back to Nigeria, because Izzy said he's going to take the belt back to Nigeria on Tuesday after taking it to South Africa as well, which I thought was quite funny.
I think Friday I'm going to South Africa, and then the next week I'm going back to New Zealand. I am a child of the earth.
But anyways, so that really pissed off Izzy for some reason. He started obviously swearing a lot and whatnot, and then he said that he doesn't know his story, he doesn't know who the fuck he actually is and stuff like that.
Story. I don't care about your story.
Listen, my father and myself had to wake up at 4 a.m. and clean the banks while my mom studies to be a nurse. You don't know my fucking story. Don't fucking speak of my story if you don't know my story.
That which was a really interesting side to take, because for those of you who don't know, this whole time, and for the whole time Izzy's been in the UFC, he's put on this thing of how he grew up rich, or he grew up well off, and his parents provided everything for him and things like that. So I don't know where this side came from. Like, maybe his parents did struggle and suffer before they got to the point where they provided everything for him, but he's never shared that side to us. This is a whole new side to Izzy that we haven't seen. So that was quite interesting, and I'll give you my thoughts on that just now. But yeah, Izzy did seem more emotional than usual. I don't know whether that's just anger or what, but at one point Dricus also made a joke when Izzy said, who said I'm the underdog, who made me the underdog, and then Dricus had a funny comeback, which was...
When did I become the underdog?
You know, it's a pick'em. It's very...
Nobody said anything about dogs, bro. Chill out.
I said that...
And that really got under Izzy's skin, and I think you can see he was lost for words, and I think it's because the home crowd, which is his people, his crowd, laughed at the joke and supported him, which obviously would get him off. But the crowd was fully on Izzy's side throughout this whole press conference. You can even hear it during the face-offs. The whole crowd's going, Izzy, Izzy, Izzy. I'm not going to lie, it sounded like DDP to me, but I'll take my bias and leave. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm really looking forward to this fight now more. This is like the feud, the anger that we wanted to see. Like even looking at the face-off, you can see that both of these guys, I don't say they hate each other, but you can tell that there's real dislike between each other and they really do want to hurt each other. Now talking back to what I was saying about the emotional side, I think emotions are a very big and important part in being a fighter, and it's very important to control your emotions. Like any fighter or trainer that you listen to will always say that you want to show almost like a stone face. You don't want to show your cards, you don't want to show your nervousness or anything going into a fight, because that can give the opponent upper hand. And I don't know whether Izzy crying will now give Drickers more confidence or make Izzy just more angry, make him more vicious than he's been before, and whether that in the same sense will make him not be as calculated, which he normally is. He's a very smart fighter. His fighting IQ is above and beyond anything, and for what we know, like, it's easy to see that Izzy is the better, more technical striker, and Drickers has that awkward movements and that, and if he's not in the right mind or day emotionally, then will that cost him? Will that make him cause mistakes that Drickers can then capitalize on? Like, I'm still not going back on my old prediction of Drickers finishing him, but that is a new thing to consider. Let me just talk about the other fights for a second before I end off this video. I do think that the other fighters were interesting in the press conference. There's nothing really to highlight. I think just that Rosenstruck said he's not going to stand and bang with Tuivasa, which is a very smart thing to do. I'm a very big Tuivasa fan, and I'm hoping and praying that he wins and finally gets on a winning streak again. But let me tell you my predictions for these fights, because I didn't get to tell you before. Tuivasa versus Rosenstruck, as I said, I hope Tuivasa wins. I think he's going to knock him out in the second round, hopefully. Steve Erceg versus Kai Kara France. I think it's a very close fight. I'm not going to lie. Steve showed that he is ready to be put up in that high rankings in his last fight against Pantoja. Obviously, I still think that title fight was a bit too early for him, but it is what it is. But I think that experience will really help him, and I see him getting it done. But I think it goes to decision against Kai Kara France. And then Dan Hooker versus Matthias Gamrot. I think this will be a fun fight. I'm a big Dan Hooker fan. I think he's an extremely entertaining fighter to watch. I think Hooker gets it done. I think Hooker finishes him in the second round as well. So, is there a fight that I'm missing? Well, I can't think of it off the top of my head. If I am missing one, you'll let me know in the comments and let me know who you all think is going to win for each of these fights, and as well as how. I'm personally really looking forward to it, and the press conference just made me more excited. Okay, so while I'm recording this video, the UFC 307 card just released, so I'm going to be making a video on that. It should release tomorrow, hopefully. So subscribe, put notifications on to hear about that and my thoughts and predictions for that fight. But here's just a hint. I love Alex Pereira, so I have so much respect for him. This is the third title fight that he's fighting this year. Islam only fought once this year and he's out for the rest of the year. I know he's injured, but like, how can people not love him? And surely if he wins this, he has to go to pound for pound #1 with how active he's been. Like, I know Dana's going to say, oh, John Jones, but John Jones did nothing. He hasn't fought. He's scared. He's running from Tom Espinel. Okay, he's scared. I said it. But yeah, so that video will be out, and then obviously my reactions and my breakdown of UFC 305 will be out on Sunday or Monday, so subscribe to look forward to that. I'm really looking forward to this fight. I'm not looking forward to waking up at 4 a.m., but that's what I do for you guys. So see you in the next one.